What up?
Not much. I was just thinking about because we were talking about Britney Spears in the last video, and like I'm glad that she finally got out of that conservatorship. What was that? Within the last year or two, like it was hanging over her head for so long, and like
Oh
finally,
yeah, I remember making fun of that dude on the internet. This is like, leave Britney alone. Like
oh
even
yeah, Chris
South
Crocker.
Park, yeah, South
Yeah,
Park made fun of that guy, but he was right. Like Britney
yeah,
was getting an unfair amount of hate. Like,
yeah,
yeah, she had a difficult life. Uh, the
Good to
quest is
go.
up. Oh, okay, yeah, sweet.
yeah. I just ate, and it's like, and
Here we go.
I feel extra bad about it because just like relatability, like when, cuz did I tell you about that well, like how I got that brain damage? I was
No, I don't think so.
oh, cuz I was 4, I was at preschool, and like it was I did finally ask my mom like when that was. It was somewhere mid-December. And there wasn't snow on the ground, but it was still like that kind of gray, cold kind of and we were lining up for the class photo. And like I was excited to play on the playground because I was 4.
Yeah.
There was a jungle
Yoink.
gym, and I climbed to the top of it, but I couldn't figure out how to get down. So I was like, okay, I'll just drop. It's not that big of a fall. I'll be fine. And
Because
you know, I,
four-year-olds are
yeah,
dumb.
I smacked my head on the ground, and I
Ooh.
bounced a little bit, and then you know, and then I remember waking up in the back of my mom's van, and she's like going on the S
Like
curve.
to the
Yeah,
hospital. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yoink.
then I wake up
Gotcha.
and there's like these long tubes in me, the IV, and like, I was 4, you like a kid isn't told about those sorts of things before that point. Like you kind of imagine that like you'll tell a kid about all that kind of
Let's
stuff
see.
eventually, but like not that early. So like
Right.
I had no idea what an IV was, or like what it did, or like why I needed to have one. I jumped out of the bed and I like stepped on the cord, and it yanked around in my arm. So that is, yeah. But yeah, like when I hit my head, I had a skull fracture and brain damage, and like I almost died. And like actually and I'll show you if you remind me the next time that we hang out. There is, if you feel like, yeah, my forehead on the right side, you can feel like the crack, the fissure where the part of my skull separated.
Yeah.
um yeah, you can feel the little divot in my head. But yeah, like the IV thing, that is
Yoink.
why every time that I get my blood drawn, I have a full body seizure, because it brings me back to that moment, like one of those
Mm.
early moments that solidifies in your mind.
Yeah.
But
PTSD. I
anyways,
mean, like
yeah.
literally.
But
Found the creature, by
so
the way. I'm on top of him.
from that a trust fund was made, and I was to get it when I was 18. And like my mom was greedy about the money, like she wanted it all. So like she was like, hey, do conservatorship stuff. And
Oh,
like,
like Brittany. That must be what
yeah,
brought this up. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it is. And they wouldn't allow her because like there are very, very many you know, like like evidence, like,
organizations. Yeah.
but no,
Us, yeah.
it's like there are very, very many records of like my
Damn
mom
it.
just being crazy as shit. So they wouldn't give the conservatorship to her, and they were trying to pass it off on just like one of those legal people, and and you know, we were trying to get out of that. So we had asked my aunt if she would be the conservator, the one that I
The one that
said
died.
died last year. Yeah,
Yeah.
the really really nice one that I used to love hanging out with and spending weekends with like all the time when I was a kid. And then my mom was like, "Oh no, you're not allowed to have any fun. Everything's going to be a nightmarish hell, and you just can't see your aunt for 5 years." But like I'm not gonna talk about that right now. But yeah, like so she was
Going?
a conservator, and then like you know, she was nice about it. Like anytime that I asked for money, you know, my own money that I almost died for, she would be like,
Where'd
"Yeah, sure."
the trust fund come from? Was it like a
It
suit
was, yeah,
against
it
the
was a
school or something?
lawsuit against the school, and they had that jungle gym taken out so that that couldn't happen to any other kid ever again. Yeah, my mom sued the school, and then I got put into a trust fund. Yeah.
All right.
Um, but like, my mom kept trying to tell me that like,
Damn
that
it.
that you know, like once your aunt dies, it's gonna revert to that like legal team, and they're gonna have like control over your money. And anytime that they feel like they want to steal money from you, they just can, because like you know, they'll basically be in charge of your life. And it's like, I have like the way that I feel about
Damn
stealing.
it.
You do not steal from me, and I will say this, and I don't care about saying this on video. If you steal from me, if you steal money, if you steal anything anyway, I will kill you. I will fucking kill you. I will dig a knife to the left of your spine. I will dig it to the right of your spine. I will take your spine out, and then I will fucking beat you with it. You don't fucking steal from me. So, like, hopefully, they won't steal any fucking money from me, because, like, that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a very huge problem. It's going to be a big, very huge problem. Um,
Well, I mean,
I,
they're gonna take like legal fees,
it's,
but
well,
hopefully,
it's
if
like,
they're on the level, just not terrible people,
but it's,
that
but it's like, that's the thing, is that,
That's
like, why can't it just work that, like, my aunt was the conservator, and then she died, and then now I have no, because,
yeah,
because
you're an
that's the thing,
adult.
too. That's the thing, too. Is that like I thought that it was just going to be for my trust fund money, which had run out like a few years ago. Um Probably 2018, 2019, if I have to remember correctly. Um um like, I didn't know that it would tap into like any money that I would get, like, ever at all. And it's like, I was trying to tell my mom that like it was it was supposed to be just for the trust fund money. I thought, like, I read over the documents. I thought that it was just supposed to be for my trust fund money, but she was like, "No, they're going to take literally everything from you." But like, I don't know how much I can
I
trust
don't.
my mom on that, because she's a
Yeah,
fearmonger.
yeah, that doesn't sound right.
Um, and I don't know it, and that's the thing too, is that like I can't deal with court stuff, because like, you know how we're talking like normal people right now? What if there was somebody like in our conversation as a mediator that was just like, "You're not allowed to fucking talk, because I'm your god, I'm your master, you don't talk, and if you still talk, you're in contempt of court, and I'm gonna throw you in jail." And it's like, what in the goddamn fuck is your problem? You do not play God with people's lives like that. So like, I have, I don't know how to deal with like court stuff, like, because those people are just like psychotic and deranged. Like, it,
It takes a special kind of person to be a lawyer. I would know. I'm Jewish. I've got a couple in the family, and we love to argue, but they're just better at it.
yeah.
Like there's rules to arguing, you know, in court. It's just like, oh, you can't say that right now. It doesn't matter if you're right. Like,
But it
it's just
just
not your
like
turn to talk.
I just don't work like that, especially because it just like most of my life most of my life I have felt like property. Like I haven't had the right to say things or do things like as my own self, as my own person. I'm just supposed to be like a tool for everybody to use. I'm just supposed to be like a record player to play back what everybody else says. I'm not allowed to have my own thoughts. I'm not allowed to make my own decisions. Everybody is supposed to like take control over me and oppress me and just walk all over me and all that sorts of shit. So like if I'm saying things like
Jesus Christ.
I need to be able to say
I might
things
die.
freely or I'm going to have like a mental nervous breakdown because like I already feel like I'm living in a cage within a cage within a cage within a cage in this world. Like that's why like I have tried to describe how important it is to like not control me and like you've been pretty good with it but like I have to explain I think a little more every time that I do just to like drive the point across because it really is a serious issue that like I want to feel like I have control over any part of my life at all. You know,
I remember
like
one
like
of the
I
first
own
times
myself.
we hung out just at Mark's house. Ooh, is he limping?
Yeah, and you
but-
were background gaming on a fighting game, and it's like
Yeah,
I'm the
just
one
like,
with the
hey,
controller in my
you
hand.
you can do this move and that move, and I was, I was just trying to be nice and helpful.
Yeah, I
But
know
I
that
understand now
now
that
that I know you.
yeah, that
Yeah.
you
I
were
know
not a
that it
fan of
doesn't come
that.
from a place of malice. Well, it like even that little bit, even like telling me what to do in a little capacity like that, it makes me like very sick and kind of throws me into an existential crisis because it's like if people are always taking because like it wasn't that you were just saying like maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, but like usually when people do that, it is expected that I'm supposed to do that, and it's like okay, so I'm just supposed to like drop everything and do what other people want, and then it feels like I'm being puppeteered, like people are pulling my strings, and it makes me feel like very sick, like down to my core. Um because like if everybody's making all of my decisions for me, then like I'm not really living my own life, then it's like I don't really need to exist because if I'm just living everybody else's lives for them, if I'm just doing everybody else's decisions for them as a tool, as an object, like it makes me feel filthy and degraded, like a dime store whore.
I like how you said dime store.
Yeah.
I think we might be able to capture this guy. I'm just gonna throw down the trap.
But yeah,
and we'll see.
I have no idea how to like I don't know if like once and that's another one of the many reasons like other than the fact that like you know everything at home that I've always dealt with, like I've always kind of been like so depressed every single day for like 21 years that like I've thought at least 20 to 400 times a day, hey, maybe I should just die. And it's something that I can't get out of my head. Like if I had to deal with a job and like have to live where I am with my family, that like I don't think that I think it would kill me, like I already get like so much stress here that like I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack. But like you know, if I had to deal with a job on top of that, like it would just kill me. But other than that, going back to the conservatorship, if I started earning like big money and actually like was able to have like even $100 at a, like I am so goddamn poor that like $10 is expensive to me. Like think about that for a second. $10 is expensive to me. So, like, so say that I was able to, like, not mentally just, like, cripple and crinkle inside myself and just, like, have a job and, like, have, like, you know, $100 or whatever, even that I could just have not as spending money, but as saving money.
Sharpening.
Say that I had that. Is a legal team going to come after me like a pack of vultures and just like steal all my money away from me eventually? Like, am I still under
No,
the
I suspect
conservatorship?
any
I don't
legal
know.
team with any amount of ethics would
Is that's
have
kind of
just
an irony?
taken
That's like an
their fees
oxymoron,
out of.
isn't it?
Well, they would have just taken their fees out of the money that they know that you have. You know, like that the trust fund before it ran out, and then
Yeah.
after that, then why would they? You know, they would probably work less hard because they're just like, yeah, this guy doesn't really have a lot of money. But, you know, they would still do their duty because they can actually
Yeah.
be disbarred for not doing their duty. You know, they have to provide earnest representation for any client that they decide to accept. They didn't have to accept you as a client. But again, like you said, it's almost an oxymoron, ethical lawyer. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
could
I
go
just
either way.
wonder,
I don't really know.
like, it's just like if I ever run into problems with that, and then I wonder, like, who's stealing with, because, like, um, so I'll use another example. Like the first time that I tried to get a PS5, because like you know, when I had my trust fund, I was generous to my friends too, because like, you know, like they were my friends and I loved them. Like they were basically like a family, like a good family, not like one that treated me like shit, but like an actually good
Yeah,
family that
chosen
cared about me
family
and I
is
cared
usually
about them and
better
I
than
loved them and they loved me. And
regular family.
you know, like there was a time that like Kane needed a car, so I just took like $2,000 out and I got him a car. And you know, over the next like several years probably after that he was paying me back, and then he had like $600 left that he was going to pay me back. And I was like, you know, and it was hard to get a hold of him over the 2020s for the obvious reasons. But I mean, like, the friendship had kind of torpedoed between 2017 and 2018. But, like, it was, we were still talking a little bit, just not as much as we used to.
I'm
And,
standing waist deep in water. Why am I on fire? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your story.
yeah. But yeah, like, we could barely, reach each other over the 2020s, or, like, I tried to reach him and he just, like, ghosted me. But then, like, I learned
Well, you
that
talk to
he's,
him now, yeah.
no, I don't.
Oh, you've
The
mentioned
last
him several times talking to me, so I just thought you guys were still in touch.
No, it's just like reminiscing, you know? He does poison
Oh.
clouds too, what the hell? So he does fire and
Yeah.
poison clouds, that's crazy. And also
And then the
awesome.
adults do sleep. This is a juvenile form. The adult form is called Gravios.
Huh. But but yeah,
Nice.
like what was it? Last year he was moving to another state. And that's where I would actually like not say what the state is. Like it doesn't matter. Like he was just moving to another state, and I didn't learn that. Like apparently he had told everybody else, but like you know, we used to be the closest of friends from like 7th grade onwards, and then by that point, like we were basically strangers again, which is really kind of weird when a friendship goes to that end of the cycle. But yeah, it's like, hey, I'm going to another state, and I'm like, hey, you still owe me $600, and it's like, I can do that, friend. So it's like I was going to get a PS5, and I tried to get it over Facebook Marketplace because like it was still expensive. It was still expensive everywhere else. You know, scalper prices, and So on Facebook Marketplace, it was like $600. But like my bank would only allow me to spend a couple $100 a day. So over the course of a few days, I was sending the money, and then they were like, "Yeah, I will send that PS5." And what it was the smallest box possible with like 30 brochures for the post office. And this is the point of this story, is that I tried to dispute all that with my bank because, they had stolen money from me. I was like, hey, we need to get the authorities involved because, like, they scammed me out of this money and, like, you know, like they didn't give me the thing that I had paid for and I want my money back. And they were like, "Oh, that's a different branch." And it's like, "Then why the fuck didn't you transfer me over?" Like they basically told me to go fuck myself. And so I didn't get that $600 back. So I know that my bank isn't useful, like, if I try to dispute charges. So going back to the conservatorship, like, if they ever decide that they're going to just steal money from me, which, should be illegal, but, like, whatever, they'll just do it anyway, and because they're lawyers, they can kind of, like, screw the system whichever way they want, and since they're above the system, just like cops, they'll be fine. And I'll try to dispute the charges with my bank, and they'll be like, screw you, we don't do that. Just like they did last time.
Oh,
So I'm really worried about it. Like, it's like I try not to constantly worry about it, because if I constantly worry about things, then, like, the stress actually physically hurts in my chest. But, yeah, it is a concern with, like, if I need to get out of it, I have absolutely no idea how to get out of it in a manner in which I would actually be able to do so. And not just, like, screw myself over.
Well, you got the internet, and you saw Brittany go through her thing. I remember, like, hearing her in an interview. She's just like, well, maybe y'all think I'm dumb, but I literally didn't know that I could dispute the conservatorship. In her, like, Florida accent. I don't really know where she's from, but someplace in the South.
I don't know either. A place that creates hot people.
Sounds like Florida.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she, and I don't think she's dumb. Like, actually, one of my favorite YouTube channels is called Legal Eagle, and it's this lawyer, and he makes me feel smarter every time I listen to him,
Yeah.
But he actually did a video or two maybe, about Brittany and the conservatorship. And then once she actually finally got up, does he do sleep gas too?
Yeah, it looked different. It was like a light blue dream cloud, yeah. I'm glad that neither of us got caught in that.
I didn't get hit by it, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, the point is, it is something you can get out of. You would have to, like, find a different lawyer to represent you against the first lawyer in that case.
Yeah, I don't know how I would be able to do that. Like, are there those ones that actually, like,
or producing
don't worry about the money unless we win, or like,
yeah, there's also just pro bono ones.
Yeah,
you could find a very new lawyer that just wants experience. They actually do work for exposure, and I'm not joking about that.
But that's the weird thing about that, is that, like, if I'm going to get one, like, I want one that's going to actually, like, talk intelligently and, like, make me win, like, and I have no idea, like, if there's a proper, like, lawyer review site, like Yelp or whatever, where it's like, this person is stupid and talks in circles, like that so I'm a spider, so what book, or like this person could get me out of chewing somebody else's foot off.
I used to watch this. This somewhat unrelated, except for the practice of law, but there was a sitcom on Fox called Boston Legal. It
Oh, I've
starred
heard about that. Yeah.
what's his name from Star Trek, original Star Trek, Captain Kirk, William
Oh,
Shatner,
William Shatter.
uh,
Yeah.
and then also James Spader, uh, who was more or less the main character, and also Murphy Brown was in it. Can't remember her name, Candice Bergen, I think.
Huh.
Um, uh, but yeah, uh, there
Oh
was this
wow.
one episode where
Yeah.
one of the like junior lawyers uh, has a client. It's a black guy who's on trial for like theft, right? And she's just like,
Yeah.
"Don't worry, I'm gonna get you out of this. Don't worry, I'm gonna get you out of this." And he's not trusting her, and he's kind of hurting his own case with his own testimony. Uh, and then when it becomes time for her comments, she's just like, "Well, clearly, the client didn't steal this. He said very clearly that he thought it was his phone and he picked it up. And then he didn't return it, but you didn't charge him with possession of stolen property. You only charged him with theft. And theft requires the state of mind that you intend to steal the thing.
Huh.
So I moved that this case be dismissed, and the judge was just like, shit. Yep. You're right.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of like theft, do you know how long something has to be in your possession for it to be considered yours?
Now
legally.
I know he's limping, right? Sorry.
Yeah,
I
he's
didn't
gotta
mean
be. But do you know
Uh,
how long legally something has to be in your possession for it to be considered yours?
I really think it depends on the thing, because there's still countries that are trying to get stuff back from England that they keep in their museums
Yeah.
that they took, like, literally 1,000 years ago.
Well,
Like,
it's like,
Greek artifacts and shit like that. But if we're just talking about, random
yeah.
human stuff,
Like, I'll give the
I
example
think.
if you want.
Oh,
'Cause,
yeah, sure.
so when I was 14, my sister had bought a PS3 for me, and it was specifically said that it was supposed to be for me. Like, it was in her room for like the first half a year, but like she didn't really play it. So I just asked to bring it in my room, and it's like, okay, sure, yeah. So then I have it in my room for like 3 years, 3.5 years, and I had talked about it. For the people at home, I'll make the reference that in my second Callisto Protocol video, I had talked about how like when I
Oh,
was 17,
he's sleeping.
almost 18, or I think I was like newly, freshly 18 then, in 2012, and
Oh, okay, thank God.
I had, I dealt with like 10 years of like psychological abuse and like not knowing if I was going to die or not because like, things were really that crazy. Um, and I just wanted out, and I was like living with Kane for a couple weeks, and then he
I'm
got
sorry you
frustrated.
had to experience that.
He got frustrated, because like I was in his room. And he wanted to beat off because, like, what do young people want to do all the time? So, like, fucking get out of here. So, like, I was living in the basement for the second week, and then I was just like, hey, I think I'm just gonna like go over to my aunt's. And it's like, okay, that is cool. And then I asked my aunt to drive me over to my mom's house so that I can get my things, and like they were my things. Like I wasn't going to take the furniture, I wasn't going to take the bed, I wasn't going to take the bookshelves or anything, like I wasn't going to take the desk, anything like that, but like my books were mine and my games were I had my games because I was at my friend's house. Of course I had my games. I was
But
the
the
entertainment
PS3.
guy. Yeah. I had the PS3 because like that's what I had at the time. Um, to play on, like I was playing that all the time. Like if I didn't have that, I'd have like nothing to do. But yeah, it's like I was grabbing my books and I was grabbing like my clothes and stuff, and that was the stuff that was mine. And then you know, I was like sneaking out the back door, and I had like the last couple like I was down to like the last four bags worth of things. And my mom finally figured out what I was doing. Like the guise was that I wanted to hang out with my dog again because I hadn't seen him in so long and I wanted to pet him. And then it's like, yeah, I hung out with him for like 10 minutes and then I got to work grabbing my shit. So like she realizes what I'm doing, and she busts open the door, and then I'm trying to leave, and she grabs my bag, and then she like has a pair of scissors in her hand, and she's like thrusting them like really like inches away from my face, like she's trying to like stab my face with scissors. And freaking so she was the one that attacked me first, and I was you know I had gotten her off of my bag, and I like pushed her out of the way, and like she fell because she doesn't have a sense of balance like at all. And then I put that stuff in the car. Or rather, no, I got her off of my bags, and then I put that stuff in the car, and then I came in, and then she was trying to block my way, and I was just trying to move her out of the way, and that's when she fell. And then my sister attacked me, like she was like grabbing my goatee and trying to pull me down to the ground. So I was like, okay, fuck you, bitch. And I like grabbed her hair, and I was pulling her down to the ground. And like they that was when I was in lockup for a night, and it was only one night. I thought that I didn't know how long I was going to be there, and I had told the cop that I had defended myself, and like they should have definitely like gone in jail for attacking me in the first place, but they never did. And that still kind of bothers me to this day, like 12 years later. um and like so what is it, like a week or two after that, my sister steals my PS3 from my aunt's house. And like one of my nephews is playing Sly Cooper on it, and she doesn't even bother to turn it off properly. She's just like, I'm just going to unplug it from the wall and put it in a banker's box, and fuck you. And like, I didn't have my PS3 for like 6 months. And I looked it up, and if you steal something that's worth over $100, that is grand theft. And I tried to tell the cops, but and I should have known that they wouldn't do anything, because like there were a number of times like over the course of my life, like in my childhood, for example, like that my life was in danger where the cops came. And like, even though my life was in danger and I very much like could have died those nights, you know like they screamed my head off, basically told me to go fuck myself, and then they left every single time. So why was I surprised when my sister sold my PS3 that day in 2012 that they were like, oh, it's just a game system, it doesn't mean anything? It was everything to me. Plus, like,
Yeah.
I was talking to the last person that I had ever loved, or probably will ever allow myself to love, on the PS3. Like, we had met on Little Big Planet. Um, and we were talking, and we had such like a good rapport, and like, I fell in love with her. And then it's like, oh, my sister's just gonna steal everything from me and kind of like fuck me over, just take that opportunity away from me. So like, it was a little more hurt because of that too. Like, I couldn't really talk to her because I didn't have this system anymore.
How old's your sister again? I know she's got,
she's
because you
she's
talk about your nephews sometimes.
she's 13 years older than me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's the really big gap.
Yeah, like I'm 29, so she would be 42 by comparison. My nephews are 21 and 19. Um yeah. I think yeah.
I got a nephew. He's They just diagnosed him as being on the autism spectrum. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, no way. The kid who could beat me at video games when he was like 6 and taught himself the piano. He's a little autistic? No way. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
He is a good kid, though. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else in the room. I mean,
Oh
not really
wow.
around his family because he knows where older and more experienced, but like when he's in school, he just sort of always thinks he's the smartest kid in the room. And you can be the smartest
Yeah.
kid in the room, you just can't act like it. You know what I'm saying? You can't be a dick.
Yeah.
Uh, and
And
sometimes
it's
he
like
is.
like it's like I am as well. And I do like the whole how it does kind of like, well, it's like the overthinking is both a blessing and a curse because, like, education intelligent wise, like, yes, overthinking is awesome, but, like, if you ever dare have any stress or anxiety in your life, well, ha ha ha. But then also, dear God, like, me trying to figure out social cues, like, it, like, I just remember, there was this there was this day, I don't remember like how old I was then, because like there was a good
I
amount of
posted the
my
plus,
life
by the way.
that Kane was in my life. Morty. um but yeah,
Is Kane his real name? I mean, don't
yeah,
say his real name, but like his
I'm
name
not
was
gonna say
actually.
his last name
Oh,
is
okay.
the thing.
I
I'm not
just,
gonna say his
yeah,
last name,
Kane
but
sounds
like,
like a vampire. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, like Legacy of
Like
Kain,
Cain and
Soul
Abel.
Reaver, yeah.
Yeah.
um but like, it was one of the days that I was hanging out with him, and like he got up off the couch and walked to the kitchen, and like so did I. Like I got up and I walked to the kitchen. I was like right behind him, because like I was like, "What are we doing?" Because like realizing that you shouldn't walk like basically a paper thin distance right behind somebody, like doesn't really click to you as a common sense kind of thing. You have to be like yelled at maybe like 20, 100, 200 times before you get it. It's like I didn't follow people that much, but like, the like things that you shouldn't say in conversation. There are enough
Well,
of
I mean, you
those.
ever see Indian people, like Indians,
Oh,
like line up, queue for something? Uh, they
no.
stand like, say, one of them's got a beer gut. That belly will be touching your back because I guess cutting in line is a huge thing in India. So like, they will just stand uncomfortably close to the next person for a line of 100 people. Uh, That's in India. I mean, I don't really know about like Indian immigrants, but like I've seen
Yeah,
it.
it's weird about that whole, like, because they used to be offended about that, or like people would get offended on behalf of them. It's like, say Native American, don't say Indian, but then it turns out that they actually figured out that they did come from India once upon a time, like before the
Oh,
white
like
colonists that just screwed
13,000
up
years ago.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Since this is getting to like 39 minutes, because like I was talking about
Yeah,
my
we've just
stuff,
been chatting.
and I was barely attacking that brachios. I mean, you probably noticed,
Oh,
like, you were
no
doing most
wonder
of the
it took
work.
so fucking long.
Yeah, yeah, because like I wanted to be able to concentrate on what I was saying, and it was like important to get that stuff out.
Also, he's
With the
made of fucking
conservatorship and
rocks.
everything. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely, like, I was doing a whole bunch of leap attacks, and I definitely went in and attacked them when they were red, because like that's when they're weak and vulnerable. But most of the time I was just running around on cliff tops, just talking about conservatorships and stuff. Um,
But
yeah,
anyway, I assume you're gonna
yeah.
cut off the video.
Yeah, this was a like I know that this episode was filled with some stressful
Yeah.
topics, but like hopefully we'll get
A
into
trek
better
into
things.
personal relationships, for sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
maybe I could top it off with a funny story.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, we have
I can do it
time.
right now. Uh, so you remember I mentioned Steve, the D&D sugar daddy, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and the reason I brought him up earlier is because he was born in October. I was born in November, but the following year. Uh, so he's 13 months older than me, but everybody else in the D&D group calls him Old Man. And then when he
Yeah.
doesn't show up, they call me Old Man. Even though the next guy is like 30, so like he's only a couple of years younger than I am. But I was best
Yeah.
man at Steve's wedding, and I didn't have a speech, right? I talked to a couple of my friends that also knew him in high school, like before I had to make the speech, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm just like, maybe I just tell a couple funny anecdotes, right? You know? And so I workshopped it with them for, I don't know, like 5 minutes tops.
Yeah.
And then I went and I told, I gave the speech, right? Uh, which, like I said, consisted of funny anecdotes
Yeah.
about when we were kids, because, like I said, he was kind of a bad kid,
When you were
little
young.
destructive.
Yeah.
Uh, for example, I remember and this is one of the stories, almost word for word, is first time Steve came to my house, he was wearing a giant trench coat, talking like the Matrix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Nice.
my mom had answered the door. I was expecting him, but my mom had answered the door, and she said, "Who is that, and what's in his pocket?"
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "Oh, that's my friend Steve from school." Uh,
Yeah.
and
Though I do
and
understand the
he
concern because there was somebody in third grade that came to school with a butterfly knife, and it's like, wow, cool. And then I never saw him at school again. So definitely understandable. Anyways, yeah, you were saying.
he pulls out of his pocket. Oh, it's just this PS2 game. It wasn't even a game. It was like, do you remember Game Sharks?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
yeah. He had a
One of my
PS2
friends,
version.
like the friend that I had from kindergarten onwards, his dad, like he was smart technological wise, and he would burn on, like on, there was a 007 movie that on, like in the code, when you had used a certain memory card, it would do the action replay stuff. And if you
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have that memory card in, then it just wouldn't do that stuff and it would play the movie. I don't know how he like messed with the movie to be able to do that. That's really cool that it could play both things and just store all that data and still work fine either way. That was
Yeah,
amazing. But yeah.
Game Sharks are interesting technology to begin with. But what he actually had in his other pocket, because he wasn't bending, and my mom
Yeah.
just believed that thing, because he did have, the Game Shark,
Let's
uh,
see.
was he had probably a 2-foot machete. And we're in like 8th or ninth grade, so we go out back and play with the machete. uh, and he ends up, trying to do ninja anime stuff with it, and loses grip of it, and it flies like 40 feet backwards. it's it's a miracle nobody was behind him. So
Yeah.
another story about Steve that I also told at his wedding was one time we're just chilling in my room, right? And he's bored because he definitely had ADD. I don't know if it was diagnosed or what, but like, uh, so so there's this bouncy ball, like rubber
Yeah.
bouncy ball, but it's got LEDs in it, and when
Oh
you
yeah,
bounce it
one of
on something,
those. And it
yeah,
like lasts for a
it
year and then
lights
it
up.
stops working. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just like hitting it on all kinds of things, and it's not lighting up. And then he just chucks it at me. I'm like on my computer just playing the game, and it lights up, right? So, Then he picks it up, chucks it at me again, and it lights up.
It's bright,
and then I
light bright,
run through
fill
the
the
house.
world
I'm
with
just like,
light.
stop, stop throwing that at me, right? So at this time, we had not a screen door, but like a glass, outer door.
Yeah, we've
beyond,
got those,
the
yeah.
regular door, right?
Yeah.
And it would never latch unless you
Oh, hey,
like,
it's a
yanked
Leviathan
it
from
closed.
Supernatural. Yeah.
So
I don't
it
know
would
if you ever
never
saw
latch.
Supernatural. I know that, like, the first little bit is pretty corny before it finally gets serious and good, but, like, yeah.
I actually watched the first season of it and then didn't
Oh,
watch
cool.
afterwards because it became Bible fan fiction. That's not why I didn't watch it, but like,
Yeah.
I just never went back to it. Although Sam and Dean Winchester are just awesome characters.
Yeah, it definitely gets a lot better. Like, season 3 is probably where I start. It's, like, and, like, I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, there's this other team of monster hunters, Gordon and, somebody else. And, like, he becomes a vampire, and, like, there's some reason that he's after Sam. Oh, yeah, because of the, like, demon child stuff. And, like, he finally is like, I'm going to finally kill Sam once and for all because I'm a vampire. And, I think that's the episode that introduced me to it. And then there was the Christmas one right after that where, like, there's pagan gods and you have to, like, kill them with shaved down Christmas trees because they're eating people. They're eating people at Christmas, and they're like these Fred Rogers like kind of people, like trying to pretend that they're all nice and everything, but no. Yeah, it's fun. Sorry, but anyways.
Right, so he's throwing this bouncy ball at me,
Yeah.
and this thing's got to weigh like quarter of a pound. Like, it's solid and it hurts, right? And like I said, this screen door, it never latches, and nobody ever bothers to latch it. So the big door's open. Screen door appears to be closed. And I go to run and just push it open because, like I said, it never latches. And I shatter the thing.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
go right through this plate glass thing. I only got
Break
a
on
few.
through to the other side. Break on.
Actually, I'm not a big fan of Morrison.
What is wait, what was that?
Jim Morrison. It's a joke about the Doors.
Oh, the door.
Here.
That's what that is? Because, like,
Break on
people
through
have
to
talked
the
to me.
other side, yeah.
People have talked to me about the
Jim
Doors, but like
Morrison.
I haven't listened to them on purpose. They were on the radio, so I never knew like what was what because like when I was still listening to things on the radio, it was when
You're riding it.
it was
this
when before the times where it would show the song. Like it was way back when in the 90s.
Yeah, right. You didn't just have an electronic radio thing that's just like,
Yeah.
hey, this is the radio station you're listening to. This is the song
Oh
and the band.
my god, I understand why you hate Kizu now because like I can't attack with Tedranodon because like it moves slow as shit. It just like Okay, I ran out of time. I kept getting hit by lightning. Yeah, you run away. Yeah, I understand
I'm
running
sure
away.
You did some damage, right?
Like 2.
So here's
God.
my joke about the Doors.
Yeah.
A father
Yeah.
and son are arguing, right? And eventually the
Yeah,
son gets fed
as
up
they
with
do.
it.
Yeah.
Runs to the top of the stairs and yells, "Jim Morrison is overrated." And the dad says, "What did I tell you about slamming the doors in this house?"
Okay, alright.
I do think Jim Morrison and the Doors are overrated. Riders on the Storm is okay, but like, dude, I used to do a lot of acid, right? And I had friends
Yeah.
that would, do the same. And they were
Yeah.
always fucking listening to the Doors, and I was just like, dude.
Because doing it
I
alone
don't
is just
like
like a
this
haunting
music.
experience. Yeah.
Well, I've done it,
Well, I think it's just because things like that pull from like your innermost self, and if like a person that like I've talked to you in the half a year that we've been hanging out ourselves, like I probably talked to you like 30, 40 times about like how depressed I am. That's just like the kind of person that I am. It like the stuff that happens to me and has happened to me is always swirling around in my head all the time. So I'm kind of like always depressed. So like whenever I do like psychedelics, so shrooms are a little better because they're a little happier thing, but like acid just like makes you feel sick, and it just like, oh my god,
Shrooms actually always
everything
make
is
me
dying
throw
and
up.
I'm dying. Yeah,
After I
well,
throw
like
up,
they
I feel
always,
good.
yeah,
But
they
like
always
it's
do
just like
because they're
you get
so
this
intense.
rising
Like
feeling in your
you
tummy.
get that,
It's
you
just
get
like
that one throw up and then you're fine. You just
yeah,
gotta
exactly.
expunge it and then you can like relax for the rest of it. Yeah,
So, just to
yeah,
finish the story about Steve's wedding,
yeah.
I told that story, both those stories, and then a couple more, and then people just kept taking turns on the mic, and
Get back here!
every story that was like on the bride's side was just like, oh, she's so inspirational. She's always,
Oh yeah, of
my life is for
course,
the
makes
better.
sense. Yeah,
But then literally people just kept roasting Steve.
yeah.
Uh, like,
Steve's a hog in human clothing.
his uncle was just like, I never really liked Steve when he was a kid. He was kind of a dick. That's what he led with. His dad roasted him too.
Nice.
And then one of our oldest friends, where are we going? Finding the Kazoo.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
way,
it's in the
way
middle.
that way.
I never cut the video, by the way, so I only have like 9 more minutes.
But yeah, like even his dad was roasting him, and then one of our oldest friends, this guy named Cass, and he's just like, "Well, I wasn't going to give a
Castiel,
speech,
the
but
angel. Sorry, just
I
speaking
wasn't
more
gonna give a
supernatural
speech.
nonsense. Yeah.
But since we're all just roasting Steve," and then he tells his Steve story, which is just like, "I used to ride the same bus with Steve, and he was literally the bully." But it does end heartwarming. Like, oh, we're fighting each other, dude.
Nice. Let's go. We can actually fight each other. Gonna kill you. Gonna wreck it. Oh my god, the way that I can like extend my neck with Kizu. That's so crazy. It's like, oh man, like, God, that just makes me think of the lawn socks. There's a reason why I switched to short socks. Like, they're just so uncomfortable, the lawn ones. Okay, I'm at the Punisher, are you?
Yeah, I'm already doing it to you.
All right. Nice. Here we go, monster fight. Here we go. That's awesome. That's actually like a good thing to
But yeah, that's a good end to that video. But yeah,
well, actually,
Cass
just
was
like give me a
homeless for while,
second.
and Steve
Give me
let
gi-
him like live with him for like 2 years, just
Okay.
like in the same room. It was a big room, and they had like a blanket curtain. But yeah, so like just because the way you met him was bully on the bus, like doesn't mean that we're not all lifelong friends. Like,
And that's the good end to the video. I actually got to do this. Just give me a second. And then remember that we can't swear in the first minute. All right.